Now that I've caught the most powerful Pokemon in the world, I can go challenge the Elite Four and become champion. All I gotta do now is move this boulder and victory roll will be complete. Mewtwo, destroy this boulder! Wait! You need the HM Strength, Red! Shut up, Professor Oak. Mewtwo, do it! I told you. Shut up, Oak. What is going on, guys? This is Dobbs here, bringing you another Pokemon video. And in this video, I'm going to go over 10 of the most broken Pokemon from throughout the years. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Raging in at number 10, we have Dragonair from Pokemon Stadium. Now in the first Pokemon Stadium game, there was a fisherman with a very powerful Dragonair in the Pika Cup. And if you don't remember what the Pika Cup was, or just haven't played the game, it was basically a mode where all the Pokemon had to be within level 15 to 20, while having a sum of 50 levels when going into battle. So if you only used the rental Pokemon, you would have a sum of 45 levels since all the Pokemon were level 15, giving you a 5 level disadvantage. Now what made this Dragonair downright broken was for the fact that it was level 20 with the moves Dragon Rage and Wrap. And if you remember back in the Generation 1 days, Wrap was one of the most broken abilities because it would completely immobilize your Pokemon for 2 to 5 turns. But that wasn't the only reason why this Dragonair was completely broken, it was also for the fact that most Pokemon barely even had 40 HP in the Pika Cup, which meant that Dragonair's Dragon Rage could two-shot nearly every eligible Pokemon in 2 turns while outspeeding them. Even defensive walls like Chansey would be obliterated in 3 turns. Not to mention that Dragonair also had Thunder Wave, which at the time had 100% accuracy. So taking now this incredibly powerful Pokemon took a lot of strategy and planning, and most of the time it really depended on luck, which is why it's number 10 on this list. Sleeping in at number 9, we have the Neo Genesis Slowking card. Now surprisingly enough, there has only been 7 Pokemon cards that have been banned in the entire history of the TCG. And out of all these banned cards, the Neo Genesis Slowking has to be the most interesting and broken out of the bunch. What made this Slowking so powerful was for its mind game power, an ability that negated all the opponent's trainer cards and made the opponent place these cards on top of their deck, which in the end made it really difficult for the opponent to draw new cards to take down the Slowking. And if you don't know what trainer cards are used for, they're basically support cards that allow you to draw more cards or use special effects. Now at first glance, this Slowking may not seem that overpowered, but due to an English translation error, this card went from powerful to downright broken. In the Japanese expansion, Slowking's mind power was only usable when this Pokemon was in the active position, but when the translation converted into English, Slowking's mind power then became usable on the player's bench, making it possible for multiple Slowkings to bombard their opponent with mind power so that they could never use a trainer card, which was downright broken. Eating in at number 8, we have Snorlax from Pokemon Crystal. Now back in the early stages of the Pokemon metagame, Alakazam reigned king because of the lack of counters to his psychic typing and special attack stat. But when Generation 2 rolled around, Snorlax quickly took the spotlight and shaped the current meta we all know today. You see, what made Snorlax become so great was for the fact that a new stat was introduced in Pokemon Gold and Silver, the special defense stat. Snorlax, who previously lived in Alakazam's shadow, got boosted by an incredible special defense stat, while Alakazam on the other hand became very frail and vulnerable. But what pushed Snorlax over the edge of being downright broken was for the move Curse, which gave birth to a moveset forever known as Curse-Lax. With his already high special defense and mediocre defense being boosted by Curse, Snorlax became nearly unkillable and unstoppable only after a few turns of this meta-breaking move. Not to mention that Snorlax was also given Sleep Talk so that even when he was asleep, he could still pack a punch to his opponent. So it's safe to say that the Generation 2 Snorlax was definitely a force not to be reckoned with, which is why it's number 8 on this list. Shopping in at number 7, we have Kecleon from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Now, if you ever played the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, you know that Kecleon managed most of the general stores within the region. And if you didn't know, in some dungeons, certain Kecleons appear with special items to help your way with your journey. But prepare for the fight of your life if you ever think about stealing from one of their stores, because these camouflage Pokemon go from normal to godlike. What happens is, if they catch you stealing from one of their shops, they will warp in front of you and strike with a devastating blow. But if you somehow live, then these Kecleon turn hostile and gain constant double speed while having the maximum level. And in some of the games, the only way of stopping this incredibly powerful Pokemon was to recruit it, which can only be done if the player has a friend bow and is lucky enough to land that 0.1% shot. But even if you do successfully recruit this broken Pokemon, you would have to face countless other spawning Kecleons that would appear on the floor. As funny as it sounds, this Pokemon was literally programmed to become broken and unfair to punish players for stealing, which is the main reason why I chose Kecleon for number 7. Parenting in at number 6, we have Mega Kangaskhan. Now, there hasn't been many Pokemon that have completely dominated the competitive scene as much as Mega Kangaskhan. At the time, anywhere you looked, this insanely powerful Pokemon was on almost every team that you could imagine. What made Mega Kangaskhan so powerful was for the fact that its ability Parental Bond was basically a choice band that could break through focus sashes and sturdy, while also allowing a double chance for paraflinching, accuracy drops, and much more. On top of that, this Pokemon was capable of two-hitting almost any Pokemon while not even having max EVs in its attack stat. Not to mention all of the powerful punches that made this Pokemon a two-man army. For example, Drain Punch was a good method of recovery to back up its bulk, or even Power Up Punch, which essentially was a Sword Dance punch that raises attack by 2 stages. And of course, Sucker Punch and Fake Out, 2 moves that had priority that smacked the opponent incredibly hard. It seemed at the time that the only way of stopping this monster was to either run a speedy fighting type or the move Will-O-Wisp. But even then, this Mega Kangaskhan could run a sneaky facade to laugh at the burn or just completely tank the fighting move altogether. It's no wonder Parental Bond was nerfed in Sun and Moon and was banned altogether on Smogon. This Pokemon was truly broken. Transforming in at number 5, we have Impostor Ditto. Now, I know it may sound crazy, but in the right circumstances, you could consider this transforming Pokemon to be broken. Now, like we all know, Ditto was given a hidden ability known as Impostor back in Generation 5. This new ability allowed Ditto to transform into the opponent's Pokemon without wasting a turn, while gaining all the temporary stat boosts, move pool, and even Mega Evolution. The only thing that this Ditto wasn't capable of copying was the opponent's HP, IVs, or its item. But you could say that was a good thing, because when Ditto transforms, the battle then becomes a speed tie. And if you give your Ditto a choice item, you would then be able to outspeed the opponent as long as they didn't have a speed boosting item as well. So you could imagine in a battle where you're going against a Mega Garchomp that has been boosted by a Swords Dance, and then throwing out your Impostor Ditto with a choice item, and completely dominating it with its own outrage. Something that you wouldn't expect from a Ditto. Fighting in at number 4, we have Shadow Mewtwo from Pokken Tournament. Now, Shadow Mewtwo was broken for only a short period of time, but I still think it's notable because of how game-breaking it was. Now, if you remember the Ice Climbers from the Smash Melee days, you probably fell victim to their infinite grab combo. Well, think of that, but with Shadow Mewtwo and Tekken. You see, all the player had to do to pull off this broken combo was to rotate between Shadow Mewtwo's backwards wide range attack and the transformative power of his Miracle Eye. When done correctly, the opposing player couldn't stop blocking and would be eventually left at 1 HP. And since this infinite combo would also wear down Shadow Mewtwo's health, Shadow Mewtwo would be left at 1 HP as well. But the kicker is, Shadow Mewtwo had the lowest health of any character in the game. So, at the end of the round, this Mewtwo would claim victory because its 1 health is more impressive than everyone else's. Thankfully though, almost immediately, Shadow Mewtwo's block string was removed from the game, which declared an end to this downright broken character. Reading in at number 3, we have Zeiger for the Pokemon manga. Now, if you've read the Pokemon manga, you know that Zeiger 50% form is a downright monster. In Chapter 36, Team Flare has control of the legendary Pokemon Zygarde and are trying to destroy Kalos with the ultimate weapon. This causes Mewtwo to get very angry because he doesn't like the fact that Team Flare were using Pokemon as sacrifices to feed off their life energy. So in result of this, Mewtwo Mega evolves into Mewtwo Y and takes Team Flare head on, battling Zygarde in the process. Unfortunately though, Mega Mewtwo Y doesn't last long because Zygarde discovers its one weakness, the fact that Mewtwo is synced with Blaine and is vulnerable if he gets injured. After this discovery, the main hero X collects the keystones from himself, Serena, Diantha, Green, and Karina, and Mega Evolves 5 Pokemon at once to battle against Zygarde. And even though Zygarde is going against 5 Mega Evolved Pokemon all at once, the battle is still even because of how powerful this legendary Pokemon was. It wasn't until Xerneas sacrificed himself to seal Yveltal and to create a balance in the Pokemon world so that Zygarde's purpose was no longer needed and eventually made it break down. But for the fact that Zeiger was able to find Mewtwo's one weakness that only 3 people knew about, and was able to go against 5 Mega Evolved Pokemon all at once, makes it downright broken. Raging in at number 2, we have Mega Rayquaza. Now if you looked up broken in the dictionary, Mega Rayquaza would show up because this Pokemon is absurd when it comes to his power. Even Smogon, a competitive Pokemon site, created a whole new tier called Anything Goes because this mega legendary Pokemon was considered too powerful for the Uber tier, which is basically a tier for quote-unquote overpowered Pokemon. Now what makes Mega Rayquaza so powerful starts with its passive ability of being able to Mega Evolve without a Mega Stone. This allows it to wield powerful items such as a Focus Sash or a Life Orb, which makes it nearly impossible to take down this monster of a Pokemon, especially when it uses Dragon Dance or Dragon Ascent. On top of that, Mega Rayquaza's actual ability, Delta Stream, weakens all flying type weaknesses, which makes it only vulnerable to ice type moves. Not to mention that it's tied for the highest base set ever, competing against Mega Mewtwo at 780, which roughly equals 4.5 Sunkern. So with all of that said, Mega Rayquaza is definitely one of the most broken Pokemon out there, but not as broken as number 1, so let's get on with the video. Teleporting in at number 1, we have the Generation 1 Mewtwo. Now back in the Generation 1 days, the special attack stat counted as a special defense stat as well. So since Mewtwo had the highest special attack of any Pokemon, he was also the tankiest of them all too. On top of this high special attack and defense, Mewtwo also had the move Amnesia, which was a move that boosted the user's special stat by 2 stages. So you could imagine how powerful Mewtwo would become in just one turn. Not only that, Mewtwo had a very diverse move pool. It was able to learn Thunderbolt, Bubble Beam, Solar Beam, Blizzard, Fire Blast, Submission, Hyper Beam, and of course, Psychic, which pretty much made this legendary Pokemon a one-man army. But it's not like he needed all those elemental moves anyways, because this stab Psychic was a force not to be reckoned with, especially when paired with Amnesia. But you're probably wondering why the Generation 1 Mewtwo was placed over Mega Rayquaza, because they both sound pretty similar when it comes to power. Well, it all came down to what Pokemon could counter these two legendary giants in their respective games. In the Generation 1 games, the programmers accidentally made Psychic Pokemon immune to Ghost type moves, and in result of this, Mewtwo was only vulnerable to Bug type Pokemon. And since all the Generation 1 Bug Pokemon weren't that strong, Mewtwo was virtually invincible, especially with his high stats and the move Amnesia. Call me a Gen 1er if you will, but in my opinion, I think the Generation 1 Mewtwo is the single most powerful Pokemon of any generation, which is why it's number 1 on this list. And there you go, the top 10 most broken Pokemon. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like if you did, I appreciate it a ton. And also, if you're enjoying the channel, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to follow me on Twitter for fan interactions, video updates, and other cool stuff, follow me at Ethan Dobbs. And for the question of the day, what Pokemon do you think is the most broken? Be sure to let me know down below in the comments. I can't wait to see what you guys have in mind. And I'll see y'all next time. See ya.